I used to think summer meant hiding under a baseball cap and pretending my hair didn't exist for 3 months. Nobody tells you that the wrong cut in July heat can age you faster than any sunspot ever could. Today I'm walking you through 5 summer haircuts that women over 70 are wearing right now. Cuts that work with the heat instead of against it. Cuts that make you look put together the second you walk out the door. Even when it's 90 degrees and humid. I researched the best hairstyling choices for women over 70, so you know exactly what to ask for before you sit in that chair. If you haven't already, hit subscribe because I cover this every single week. Part 1. The chin length bob that beats the heat. Here's something most women don't realize until it's too late. Long hair past your shoulders actually pulls your whole face downward in photos, especially once you're past 70, when gravity's already doing that job for free. I know how that sounds. You've had long hair for decades, maybe your whole life, and the thought of cutting it feels like giving something up. But I want you to picture the weight of it against your neck in August, the way it sticks, the way it flattens by noon no matter how you started your morning. The fix is a chin-length bob with a slight forward angle, longer in the front near your jaw, shorter in the back near the nape. Ask your stylist specifically for a graduated bob with forward-angled length and point cutting at the ends, so the line doesn't read blunt or severe. The forward angle does something remarkable. It draws the eye toward your jawline and cheekbones instead of down toward your neck, which is exactly the opposite of what long, heavy hair does in summer heat. This is where the snapback happens. Women tell me constantly that after this cut, people stop asking if they're tired. That's the real result. It's not about looking younger in some vague, unspecific way. It's that the forward angle lifts the visual weight off your lower face, so you read as alert and awake instead of worn down by heat and humidity. The bob also dries in under 15 minutes with a round brush, which matters more than people admit when you're not spending 40 minutes fighting frizz before you even leave the house. There's a texture detail that makes or breaks this cut, and it's one most stylists won't mention unless you ask. Request internal layering, not perimeter layering. Internal layering removes weight from underneath the top layer of hair, so the outside edge stays clean and graphic while the inside moves and breathes. Without it, a bob on thick or wavy hair over 70 can look like a helmet, stiff and unmoving, the opposite of what you want in July. With internal layering, the same cut has movement when you walk, catches the light differently from every angle, and never looks like it's fighting your natural texture. I remember a woman named Carol writing to me last summer, telling me she'd worn the same shoulder-length style for 11 years because she was scared a shorter cut would age her. She finally tried the forward-angled bob in June. By August she wrote back to say a stranger at her granddaughter's graduation asked what moisturizer she used. It wasn't the skincare. It was the way the cut lifted her whole face into the light. The other thing worth knowing. This cut is genuinely low maintenance in a way that matters in summer specifically. You're not reaching for a flat iron in 90-degree heat. A little texturizing cream scrunched through damp hair, air dry or a quick blast with a dryer, and you're done. No teasing at the crown required, no elaborate routine standing between you and actually enjoying your summer. Before, you were wearing hair too long and too heavy for the season. Hair that flattened by noon and pulled your whole expression down with it. After, you're wearing a forward-angled chin-length bob with internal layering. Hair that lifts your face, moves with you, and dries before your coffee's even finished. It's a 15-minute difference in your morning, and a completely different read on your whole appearance. Now here's the thing nobody warns you about when you go shorter for summer. The next cut on this list does the exact opposite of what you'd expect, and it's the one most stylists steer their older clients away from for no good reason at all. Part 2. The shag that nobody recommends but everybody loves. Stylists have a strange habit of steering women over 70 away from shags, as if texture and movement belong only to younger clients. That's simply not true, and it's actually backwards. A well-cut shag is one of the most forgiving styles that exists for fine or thinning hair, which is exactly the texture most of us are dealing with by this point in life. The layers do the heavy lifting here. Ask specifically for long layers starting at the cheekbone, combined with a wispy curtain fringe that hits at the brow. That combination creates the illusion of density, without adding a single extra strand. The layers stack on top of each other instead of lying flat against your scalp, So even hair that's thinned out over the years reads as full and textured rather than sparse. Here's the part that surprises people every time. Summer humidity, the thing we all dread, actually works in this cut's favor instead of against it. A blunt, one-length style falls flat and limp the second humidity rises. A shag is built to catch that same moisture and turn it into texture instead of frizz. The layers separate naturally, the ends flip slightly on their own, and what would ruin a smoother style becomes the exact thing that makes this one look effortless. The result women notice first isn't really about the hair at all. It's that this cut photographs well from every single angle, which matters more in summer when you're at reunions, graduations, and outdoor gatherings with a phone camera pointed at you constantly. A blunt cut has one flattering angle and a dozen unflattering ones. A shag, because of the layering, has movement built in no matter which way your head turns, so there's no bad angle waiting to catch you off guard. There's a detail in how this gets styled that changes everything. Ask for diffused drying with fingers, not a round brush. A round brush smooths a shag into submission and erases the whole point of the cut. Diffusing with your fingers while the hair is damp, scrunching gently upward toward the roots, lets the natural texture and the layering do their job together instead of fighting each other. I think about a woman named Diane, who told me she'd avoided anything with the word shag in it for 30 years because she associated it with a completely different decade and a completely different look. When she finally saw a modern version, layered softer and shorter than what she remembered, she said it took her 20 minutes to recognize herself in the mirror, in the best possible way. The bones of the cut were completely different from what she'd been picturing. This cut also solves a problem specific to summer swimming and sweat. Because the layers are already textured and imperfect by design, you don't need your hair salon fresh to look intentional. Towel dry it, scrunch in a little product, and the slightly undone quality reads as styled rather than unkempt, which is not something you can say about most one-length cuts once they've been rained on or swum in. Before, you had flat, one-length hair that read thin under summer humidity and photographed the same tired way from every angle. After, you have a layered shag with a curtain fringe that turns humidity into texture instead of frizz, and that gives you a flattering angle no matter where the camera is pointed. There's a reason I saved the pixie for later and not first, and it's because most women over 70 have heard exactly one bad piece of advice about it that's kept them from ever trying it. Part 3. The textured pixie everyone warns you away from. The bad advice goes like this. Someone tells you a pixie will look severe or masculine, or that it only works on women with delicate features. None of that is actually about the haircut. It's about a specific outdated version of a pixie, cut flat and close to the head with no texture anywhere, the kind that genuinely can look harsh in the wrong hands. That is not the pixie I'm describing today. The version that works for summer, and works beautifully on women over 70, is what stylists call a textured crop with root lift. Ask for exactly that phrase. The key difference is length variation across the top, longer pieces at the crown that get shorter as they move toward the nape and sides, combined with point cutting throughout, so no single strand has a hard, blunt edge. That variation is what separates a soft, flattering pixie from the severe version everyone's picturing when they hear the word. Here's what nobody tells you about a pixie specifically in summer. It is, without question, the coolest cut on this entire list in the literal sense. No hair against your neck, no damp strands sticking to your skin in 90-degree heat, no hat hair disasters after a sun hat comes off at a barbecue. Women who make this switch in June often tell me it's the first summer in years they haven't dreaded humidity entirely. The snapback result with this cut is specific and immediate. Because a textured pixie exposes your cheekbones, jawline, and neck fully, it does something a longer style physically cannot do. It draws attention to your eyes and your smile instantly, the first thing anyone actually notices about you in conversation. Long hair, even styled well, can partially curtain the face. A well-cut pixie removes that curtain entirely, and the result is a face that reads as more present, more engaged, more in the room. There's a root lift detail that makes this cut work specifically for finer or thinning hair textures, which many women over 70 are managing by this stage. Ask your stylist for a diffused blow-dry with the head tipped forward at the roots. This lifts the hair away from the scalp at the root before it falls into its final shape, which creates the illusion of thicker, denser hair throughout. even if the actual strand count hasn't changed at all. A woman named Patricia told me she'd resisted a pixie for 15 years because her late husband had once said he loved her long hair, and cutting it felt like erasing something. She finally did it 2 summers ago, at 73, and she said the moment she saw the finished cut in the mirror, she didn't feel like she'd erased anything. She felt like she was finally seeing her own face clearly for the first time in years, unobscured by all that hair. The maintenance argument against pixies is mostly outdated too. Yes, you'll want to trim every 6 to 8 weeks to keep the shape sharp, but the daily styling is genuinely faster than almost anything else on this list. Texturizing paste worked through damp hair with your fingers, a quick diffuse at the roots, and you're finished in under 5 minutes, which matters enormously on the mornings you'd rather be anywhere but in front of a mirror. Before, you had hair that curtained your face, stuck to your neck in the heat, and hid the very features people connect with most, your eyes and your smile. After, you have a textured pixie with root lift that clears your face completely, keeps you cool through the hottest months, and puts your expression front and center in every conversation. I'll admit something here. The next cut is my personal favorite of all 5, and it's the one that gets the most compliments of any style I've ever covered on this channel. Part 4. The curtain fringe lob that softens everything. This next one combines 2 things that shouldn't work together as well as they do. A lob, meaning a long bob that sits somewhere between the chin and the collarbone, and a curtain fringe that parts naturally down the middle and sweeps back on both sides. Together, they create a shape that softens your whole face without a single harsh line anywhere in the cut. Start with the fringe itself. Ask specifically for a curtain fringe cut on the diagonal, longest at the center part, shortest at the outer edges near the temples. This diagonal shaping is what makes it a curtain instead of a blunt, straight-across bang. It falls open naturally around your face instead of sitting like a heavy line across your forehead, and it softens the transition between your hairline and your features in a way a straight fringe simply can't. Now for the length itself. A lob that hits right at the collarbone, combined with face framing layers cut on an angle toward the chin, creates length variation around the face without the overall heaviness of longer hair. This is the detail most women miss when they picture a lob. It's not one uniform length all the way around. The front pieces are shorter, angling toward the jaw, while the back stays slightly longer, and that difference is exactly what keeps the whole shape from reading as flat or blocky. Here's the snapback moment with this particular cut, and it's one I hear about constantly. The curtain fringe, because it parts and falls open rather than sitting as a solid line, softens any asymmetry in your features, evens out a slightly uneven brow line, and takes attention away from forehead lines without covering them completely or looking like you're hiding something. It's subtle work, the kind of thing people notice as you look wonderful, without being able to name exactly why. For summer specifically, this cut has an advantage over almost everything else on this list. It works equally well wet or dry, styled or unstyled. Air dry it after a swim, and the natural wave the layers create looks intentional. Blow it out for a dinner out, and the same cut reads polished and put together. Very few styles genuinely flex between casual and dressed up the way this one does, which matters enormously across a busy summer of pool days and evening plans back to back. There's one more technical request worth making. Ask for razor cut ends, not scissor cut, on the face framing pieces specifically. A razor gives those pieces a slightly feathered, soft finish rather than a crisp scissor line, which matters because those are the strands sitting closest to your face and catching the most light and attention. A woman named Ruth told me this was the first haircut in a decade that made her stop reaching for a headband every single morning out of habit, not necessity. She said the fringe did the softening work the headband used to do, except it looked deliberate and current instead of like she was hiding an outgrown haircut underneath it. The other summer-specific benefit worth mentioning. This length is long enough to pull back into a low knot on the hottest days without losing the shape of the cut once it's down again. Not every style on this list allows for that flexibility. A pixie can't be pulled back at all, and a blunt bob loses its whole point once it's tied up. This one moves between up and down without ever looking like a compromise either way. Before, you had a straight, heavy fringe or no fringe at all. Hair that sat flat against a face with nothing to soften the transition at your hairline. After, you have a diagonal curtain fringe and face framing layers that soften every line, work wet or dry, and give you the flexibility to wear it up or down through the busiest weeks of summer. There's one cut left, and it's the one I get asked about more than any other, because most women assume it's not an option for them at all. And that assumption is simply wrong. Part 5. The cropped wave that nobody thinks they can have. Here's the assumption I hear constantly. I have naturally wavy or curly hair, so a short cropped style just won't work for me. That's backwards. Natural wave and curl are actually the exact texture that makes a cropped style work best, because the movement is already built into the hair before a stylist ever picks up a single tool. The cut to ask for is a curl-adapted crop with diffused layering, specifically shaped short at the nape and sides while leaving slightly more length through the crown to let the natural wave pattern show itself fully instead of getting cut away. This is different from a traditional pixie, which is often cut the same length throughout the top. Here, the crown length is left intentionally longer so every wave and curl has room to actually do what it naturally does. Summer humidity is the single biggest reason this cut belongs on this list at all. Straight or straightened hair fights humidity constantly, frizzing at the first sign of moisture in the air. Wavy and curly hair, once it's cropped short enough that the wave pattern can breathe, actually improves in humidity. The moisture in the air enhances the natural curl definition, instead of destroying a style that was fighting against it in the first place. This is the one cut on the whole list where summer weather works entirely in your favor. The snapback here is about time, more than anything else, and it's the result women mention most. A curl-adapted crop, once it's properly shaped, needs almost no daily styling at all. A little curl cream scrunched through damp hair, and the cut does the rest of the work on its own. Compare that to years of blow-drying curls straight every morning, fighting your natural texture instead of working with it. And the time saved alone changes how mornings feel. There's a specific request that makes this cut succeed rather than fail. Ask for dry cutting, not wet cutting, to shape the curl pattern. Curly and wavy hair shrinks up significantly once it dries, sometimes by several inches, so a stylist who cuts your curls while they're wet is essentially guessing at the finished length and shape. Dry cutting lets your stylist see exactly how each curl or wave falls in its natural, dry state and shape around that real pattern instead of an estimate. I heard from a woman named Eleanor who told me she'd been straightening her naturally curly hair every single morning for over 40 years, because a hairdresser in her 20s once told her curls weren't professional. At 74, she finally had it cut short and dry. Curls left entirely natural for the first time in her adult life. She said the first time she stepped outside in humid air, and her hair actually looked better than when she left the house. She almost cried in her car. This cut also solves the single biggest complaint I hear from women with natural texture in summer specifically: pool and ocean days. Chlorine and salt water are brutal on straightened hair, but a natural curl pattern that's already short and already embracing its own texture handles both far better. Rinse, add a little leave-in cream, and the curls reset themselves within the hour. No salon visit required to fix storm damage from a single beach day. Before, you were straightening naturally wavy or curly hair every morning, fighting against your own texture, and losing that fight completely the moment humidity hit. After, you have a curl-adapted crop that lets your natural wave or curl pattern do the styling work for you. One that actually improves the more humid the day gets. You've got 5 real options now: a forward-angled bob, a textured shag, a root lift pixie, a curtain fringe lob, and a curl-adapted crop, and exact stylist language for every single one of them. So you walk into that appointment knowing precisely what to ask for instead of hoping your stylist reads your mind. Any one of these will carry you through summer heat looking put together instead of wilted. Tell me in the comments which of these 5 you're most tempted to try, or if you've already worn one of them. Tell us how it went. Next week I'm covering the exact products that keep every one of these cuts looking fresh through August humidity, so you'll want to be here for that. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.